The health and wellness space, especially for women, can get really confusing. A lot of women, I've noticed, guys do too. I mean, we all know the Liver King. They lie to push supplements, they lie to push their coaching, they lie to do a lot of things. I'm here just to correct their information and make it simple. I'm OB Health and I've worked with hundreds of different clients, achieve any result that they want, achieve their dream body, get their hourglass shape, build the booty that they want, or just lose some fat or a couple pounds. And I've been in the wellness space for 10 plus years. I wanna make fitness simple for everyone, health and wellness simple. So let's spread this misinformation, or maybe it's some good information. You guys sent it over to me, so we get some honest reactions.
5 nutrition facts that people don't want to hear, but that are true. That's why we call them facts. From a registered dietitian. Drinking lemon water won't improve your digestion or your metabolism, and it won't detox your body. It'll just make your water kind of taste like lemon.
Very true. Good stuff. Yeah, it has a little bit of vitamin C and it could be slightly an electrolyte, but it really doesn't do much. If you like lemon tasting stuff, yeah, you can get a little bit of vitamin C, but you can also just take a multivitamin if you want to get vitamin C. It's not that crazy. 1,200
calories is not enough for a grown woman. It's actually the requirement for a 2-year-old, and eating 1,200 calories or less will actually decrease your metabolism.
Boy, oh boy, is that incorrect. I hear that all the time. I'm eating 800 calories a day, I'm eating 1,200 calories a day, and you go in starvation mode. That's what she's referring to. And in starvation mode, you'll stop burning fat. All right, let's do a visual reference here. And say you're starting here. Say you're person A. And let's say this is person B, all right? Who eats more calories between these two people? Person A, correct? They're just simply bigger. You burn your calories in a whole day by your BMR, 60 to 70% of it. That's just existing. You can burn those calories in a coma, not even exaggerating. You never stop burning fat. It primarily just comes from your body weight. So if you're losing weight, there's no number. You can lose 20 pounds in a week if you want. If you go from here to here, your metabolic rate didn't crash. You simply succeeded because now you're this size. You're not eating the same amount of food as if you were this size. So no matter what the caloric deficit is, it doesn't matter. You're not slowing your metabolic rate. And it actually was shown that this bodybuilder, he wore a weight vest, and every pound he lost, he added a pound to the weight vest. During that duration of time, he didn't change his caloric intake. He lost a continuous amount of weight the entire time, showing it's mainly just your body weight that drives that metabolic rate. I've done this many times. I've done this with a lot of female clients. I actually had this a client. In 14 days, they lost 11 pounds. I'm not going to tell you her caloric intake because I don't want you to replicate it without any supervision or try to do it on your own without understanding how to do it, because it could be detrimental. It could wreck your hormones and all these things if you don't do it properly, because it is an aggressive cut. But she was in an extreme deficit, far below 1,200 calories. She's a smaller lady, she's around 5'2". But nowadays, look how she looks. Incredible. She's maintained the results and she's eating back at her metabolic rate prior. Interesting, showing you didn't crash your metabolic rate, and there's no such thing as starvation mode. If you can adhere to a really aggressive cut, I call it the essential diet, you can lose as much fat as you want and it will not stop. If you just think about this logically, starvation wouldn't exist. Malnourishment wouldn't exist if this was a real thing. You're not crashing metabolic rate. You're simply just succeeding. You're losing weight. Because eventually, your caloric deficit will turn into your maintenance because of the fact that you're just succeeding. You're this size now. If you're 200 pounds and now you're 100 pounds, you're obviously not getting the same caloric intake. If you think about it logically, it just doesn't make sense. And if you argue the other way, if you're gaining weight, if you went from here to now this, your caloric intake increased, your metabolic rate increased. So technically the biggest metabolic booster is gaining a bunch of weight, but that's not what we want. It's mainly just your size. So completely false. And truly, I have a lot of clients where 1,200 calories is a normal deficit. I work with smaller women. So this demonization is really dangerous because some women, their maintenance is around 1,400 calories. So if they want to go to a 200 calorie deficit, they're so fearful of it because advice like this, it's so general. Women are shorter than 5'6" sometimes. It's okay. In your caloric intake, you can do a 500 calorie deficit, you can do a 1,000 calorie deficit, or you can do a 100 calorie deficit. It's if you want to sprint or if you want to do a marathon. It's truly up to you.
Intermittent fasting is not healthy, and it actually has a negative effect on your hormones, especially women's hormones.
Facts. Very true. So a lot of people think intermittent fasting is this amazing thing. Dr. Mindy, scammer, grifter. Intermittent fasting is not great for women whatsoever. Not great for men either. There's actually a study showing that your testosterone plummets, male or female, if you're at a fasted state because your body's in a fight or flight state. Your cortisol is at an all-time high because your body doesn't like this. You're in survival mode. Your body's like, holy cow, we're in fight or flight. We need to have food. So it puts it in this state where you're like, oh, I'm locked in. Yeah, it's because you're in survival state. It doesn't matter. You feel more focused because your body's tricking you. Having elevated cortisol levels is not good for your hormonal profile. It actually has been shown a caloric deficit that's continuous versus intermittent fasting, you lose the same amount of weight. The only difference is you actually maintain more muscle when it's a continuous deficit the entire time. Intermittent fasting, if you want to use it as a tool, all out power to you. Really not that big of a deal. I have female clients that use it. No hormonal issues. It's just not a huge thing. They do 16 8 hours. They don't do the 20 and 4. You can if you want. When I say 20 and 4, you fast for 20 hours and eat for 4 hours. 16 and 8, you fast for 16 hours and eat for 8 hours. I personally actually like to use intermittent fasting as a tool when I'm doing things like the essential diet because my deficit's so strict. I actually want to feel full at the end of the day. And when I'm intermittent fasting, I have this level of hunger that doesn't increase or decrease. So it kind of just stays here and I'm able to suffer through that and actually feel really full before I go to bed, and it helps me. But everyone's different. And that's the one really cool thing about fitness is you can try so many different ways and it doesn't matter if it works just for me. If it works for you, it works for you. So why would I put my ideology on you because I prefer it? Makes no sense.
Aspartame does not cause cancer, and it's totally fine to drink diet soda if that's what you like.
Love it. Diet soda has been shown if you're doing a caloric deficit, if you drink just diet water or diet soda versus just water, you actually lose more weight and adhere to the weight loss longer if you have diet soda versus water because it curbs that craving for 0 calories and it's carbonation, so it makes you feel more full. Just so many great things.
Eating late at night does not make you gain weight. You digest food the same way at 10 p.m. as you do at 5 p.m. It's totally fine to have a bedtime snack.
Facts.
Let us know in the comments if you'd like a part 2 to this.
I would love a part 2 because you're wrong half the time on that. But she did good on the other.
Unpopular opinion, but hip thrusts are not the best exercise for targeting your glutes.
It's unpopular for a reason because it's wrong. What? So if you're hip thrusting, the biggest muscle group that is being activated is your glutes. Literally nothing else can move the weight. It has the best leverage for your glutes. Think about it. Let me just try to visually show it. If I'm squatting, going up and down, gravity is up and down, right? So if I actually change the weight, if you're hip thrusting, the weight is going directly down on your glutes. And so it's a direct contraction. So meaning it's going to improve the contraction, giving more growth for your glutes. It's quite literally the most effective thing you can do for your glutes. It causes the most stimulation for the least amount of fatigue. In layman terms, that means it produces the best thing for muscle growth while making you the least tired. Recipe for success. If you start every single workout with glutes or your hip thrust, I promise you your glutes are going to explode. You'll build the hourglass shape like no other.
See, hip thrusts work your glutes in the shortened position at the top of the movement, which is okay, it's bad, but
It's actually true.
numerous studies have shown that working your muscles in the lengthened position is far more effective to see results.
False. So this is what it shows when you read just the conclusion of study. So the thing is, lengthen, meaning more stretch. I'll try to define these things. So she's using a lot of big words to try to confuse people. Shortened means it's just, you're not stretching the muscle as much. That's the best way to say it. And so with a hip thrust, you're not really stretching the glutes that much because it's a short range of motion, right? Versus if you're doing RDLs, you're really stretching those glutes. It biases the lengthened position. It's harder the farther you go down. The thing is, she is correct for newbies. So when you first go to the gym, you don't have any lengthened muscle. It's really hard to do that in your day-to-day life. So once you gain that lengthened muscle, it goes away probably within the first 6 months because you get the newbie gains and you don't get any additional benefit. So yeah, when you're first starting, getting that lengthened, great. And you still have to do lengthened exercises to maintain those muscles. The only thing is you shouldn't do a workout of only lengthened workouts because of the fact it gives you so much more fatigue. You're stretching the muscle more, causing it to get more tired for less stimulation. So that's what's so amazing about the hip thrust. You should do both shortened and lengthened position exercises to get the most growth. So if you start your workout with a shortened position, you're getting more stimulus for less fatigue. And that's how you should structure your workouts. You should start with something that makes you less tired for the most results. And then throughout the workout, you get more and more tired.
What does this mean for our glutes? It means utilizing things like lunges, deadlifts, squat variations. Those should be the bread and butter of your full training, and then adding a couple of sets of hip thrusts here and there can complement that, okay? So hip thrusts are not bad, just don't only do hip thrusts.
I mean, the conclusion was correct, but why'd you have to demonize hip thrusts? At the end, she's correct. You should do lengthened positions and you should hit your glutes at different angles. You have an upper glute and you have a lower glute, you should try to hit your side glute. There's so many different things you should do when you're trying to build your hourglass shape. Why would I ever program just hip thrust? No one just does hip thrust. But if you did, you would get the best results. Just saying, hot take. It's just interesting that she had to demonize the best exercise of all time, yet came to the normal conclusion. Interesting.
Daily reminder that I weigh 85 kilograms right now, and by BMI standards, I am obese.
I love this video. Number one thing that my clients always tell me, they're afraid to get too bulky, too big. They see the scale go up, they freak out. And I completely understand that. It's a lot more of my female clients that freak out about this, but I have male clients that have it too. So it's a unisex issue. And I used to have the same issue. I had a really bad eating disorder. I suffered where I just had a really bad relationship with food. And if I thought I gained weight, it's the worst thing on earth. The only thing is I'm 205 pounds now. And I started at 160 and then I dieted down to 120. So I went from 120 to 205. I look better than I ever have my whole life. So weight isn't the number one deter or number one determining factor if you're actually looking better or getting better results. And that's the scary thing when you're in a fat loss journey is you could be gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time, and you should be doing that if you're training correctly and have the proper nutrition. It happens all the time. So the scale is really not a big determining factor if you're looking better. The real thing is, are you doing better in the gym? Are you fitting your clothes better? And are you visually happy with how you look? And that's why I always tell everyone to track their progress with photos in the same spot. Because if you look at the photo now versus how you looked 3 months ago and the scale's the same and you like the way you look better, you gained muscle and lost fat. Okay, I don't know if this is rage bait, but that's false. There's so much research to show that you don't lose any muscle until around 30 to 60 days of being completely inactive and having no protein intake whatsoever, which I completely doubt she's doing. And within the first 2 weeks, you gain all that muscle back due to muscle memory. So this is just fear mongering for no reason. It makes people fear things like going on vacation or anything like that. So bad video. I don't know if that was just for views or anything, but that's completely false. You don't have to worry. If you have some time off, no big deal. What? Science used to say women's uterus would fall out if she ran a marathon. We now know that's not true. So are you saying because research back in the early 1900s said something false, we should never trust science again? Isn't that some dangerous rhetoric? Interesting. And if you weren't in a caloric deficit, what causes you to lose weight? Because every study, intermittent fasting versus caloric deficit, carb cycling, keto, carnivore, all these diets, every single study had to isolate the amount of calories to get any consistent result. I'm telling you, every single study, without failure. That's very rare in science. It is always a caloric deficit. Calories determine your weight, macros determine how you look, micronutrients determine how you feel. I don't know what rhetoric, what is she even trying to sell? Like, there's no information there. It's just like, oh, calorie deficit doesn't work. Oh, there's multiple. You guys sent me a lot of her. Oh, okay. So she says you can eat 10,000 calories a day without gaining weight. That's false. She is lying to her audience to sell a coaching program, telling her audience that they can eat 10,000 calories and still get their dream body. That's completely false. What? This is interesting. If you're interested in losing any fat or achieving your dream body in hourglass shape or just losing a couple of pounds, apply down below for my one-on-one coaching. And we'll see if you're a good fit.
I never understood why I wasn't toned. I was working out 6 times a week, lifting heavy, getting 20K steps a day, tracking my macros, eating a whole foods plant-based diet. I was always bloated, puffy, tired, and actually gaining weight.
Just because you're tracking calories does not mean you're actually going to lose weight. Just because you're eating healthy doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. You have to be in a caloric deficit. You can be training 6 times a week, eating only whole foods. You could be doing everything right, but the scale doesn't move because you're not in a caloric deficit. So eating healthy does not mean fat loss. It aids in fat loss. If you're not tracking your calories and eating in a deficit, it doesn't do anything.
Vegan initially, I did lose weight, but then the weight started coming back on even though I hadn't changed. When I look back at my old what I eat in a day videos,
she kind of snuck anything in there. If you don't change anything about your body, you're not going to change. It's literally the quote, nothing changes without anything changing. And look at your body right now. If you change nothing about your day-to-day, your body's not going to change. You're not going to gain weight or lose weight. Interesting. I don't know, what is she trying to sell here? Let's try to figure it out.
So much sense now that I have a deeper understanding of metabolic health and blood sugar.
I also do want to point out, being vegan doesn't inherently make you lose weight. It just means you don't eat animals. Like, that's literally it. It doesn't inherently say you're gonna lose weight. I don't know why it got associated with that, because it's not what veganism is. It's usually an ideology where they don't want to eat food for animal abuse. They don't do it for the health benefit.
Balance. This was a typical breakfast. Soy yogurt, granola, and fruit. Looks healthy, but it's basically all sugar.
Yogurt, high in protein, especially if it's a Greek yogurt, non-fat. I didn't hear what she said, but yogurt inherently, if you have non-fat Greek yogurt, it's a great probiotic for your gut health. It's gonna make you feel really full because it's extremely lean. I literally just had yogurt right before this with blueberries. And it's also filled with so many antioxidants, and you're gonna get so much fiber and so many micronutrients that can improve your health, and the granola on top of it. So it tastes great and add some crunch. It's great for fat loss.
Into something more blood sugar balancing and higher in protein.
Blood sugar. Okay, she keeps saying that. I wonder what I wonder if she sells like a blood sugar thing.
I can go 4 to 5 hours without getting hungry and I can actually focus at work. My go-to snack was an apple with powdered peanut butter because it's low calorie, right? But it's had all the fat stripped out, so it didn't blunt the glucose spike at all. Now I just eat real peanut butter. Lunch was a big...
Let me get this straight. So a second ago, you just said you switched to a high protein meal to blunt the blood glucose level. That's true. Blood glucose, by the way, doesn't make you gain fat. If you spike your blood sugar constantly, you might inherently be more hungry, making you overeat, but spiking your blood sugar has no negative health effect on you at all. And what are we gonna do, wear a blood glucose monitor 24/7? No, it's all calories in versus calories out. I don't know what she's trying to sell, but PB Fit, I'm not sponsored, PB2, whatever it's called, love them. They're kind of expensive, but it strips the fat, so it's a low calorie option, it tastes the same, and it's super high protein. So in theory, it spikes your blood sugar because of the fact it's high protein. You just said you switched to a high protein meal to blunt your blood sugar, yet in this situation, since they strip the fat, it doesn't blunt the blood sugar. That's false. You just contradicted. PB Fit's fantastic. It tastes amazing, but every food's for a different reason. If you want your healthy fats from the peanut butter, eat the whole fat peanut butter. But if you have a low calorie snack, high protein, and you want to add it to your apples, you have peanut butter and apples, best snack of all time, you can eat it with the PB Fit. It's up to you. If it fits your calories and macros for that day, if you're low in fat, eat it the full fat. If you're low in protein or high in your fat on that day, eat the PB Fit. It just fits your day to day.
burrito bowl, white rice, plant-based protein, beans, heaps of raw veg. Immediately after, I felt like I needed a nap and I literally looked like I was 6 months pregnant.
Well, you just ate a bunch of fiber. That's not fair. When you eat a bunch of fiber like that, yeah, you're gonna be slightly bloated. Are you drinking enough water? Are you moving around? Are you used to having that much fiber? Are you having all that fiber in one sitting normally? And to not have as much bloat, go for a 10-minute walk. I call it digestion walk, but my clients, they coined the term their fart walk. I think it's really funny. This mom, she said her and her husband always go on their fart walk. And I was like, that's so funny they call it a fart walk. I'm gonna start calling it that. I used to call it digestion walk, but after you eat, just go for a 10-minute walk. When you do that, it blunts your blood sugar levels. It also actually makes it so you're not gonna be as hungry, helps in digestion so you get better nutrient delivery. And it's just great to get your steps. Go out with your husband, go out with your significant other, it doesn't matter, it's great.
Afternoon snack, I would make these protein smoothie bowls. Again, looks healthy, but really high in natural sugar. Dinner.
Natural sugars don't make you fat. Antioxidants, fiber is in there. So it's gonna blunt the blood sugar level, especially if you have berries and you add protein on top of it, gonna blunt it again. So you're getting so many antioxidants and it tastes so damn good. It's literally a protein shake with nothing but just protein powder and berries. That's so crazy, you're demonizing that. What do you do? I'm curious how she's gonna end this video.
Was rice noodles, tofu, and veg. Clean, high protein, but it still spiked my blood sugar. That whole day of eating was only 1,600 calories and I was easily burning over 2,000.
How do you know you're burning 2,000 calories? What, a watch? These are 70% inaccurate. The Harvard study studied every single one. The best was inaccurate by 70%. Daily step count or daily mileage count is the only way to track it. You can't check calories burned. Any of these watches are not accurate. I use it for my heart rate, my sleep, and my steps. That's it. You should never determine how many calories you're burning in a day. Find what maintenance level is for you. Try and higher or lower calories. Find the maintenance level at a daily activity level that doesn't change, and then just slowly decrease your calories.
But because my insulin was always elevated, my body couldn't access stored fat to...
That's what she's selling. It's blood glucose level. She thinks insulin's the fat storing hormone. Everyone always says that. Insulin, it decreases fatty oxidation for around 1 to 2 hours. Slightly. Doesn't stop it because fatty oxidation is literally what our heart runs off. So if you stopped it, you would literally not be living. So with you spiking it, it's actually quite anabolic. It actually delivers nutrients and carbs to the muscle extremely fast. Bodybuilders run insulin, the most dangerous compound you could ever run because you can go hyperglycemic and die. But they run it because it's so anabolic. It's the most potent thing a bodybuilder will run. It's crazy. So insulin should not be feared. It's actually a normal thing in our body. And when it's elevated, it goes right back down to baseline after an hour or two. And if you exercise, it goes down even faster, or it might not even spike at all. The only thing that's bad about spiking it is you feel more hungry. That's what all research shows. I mean, there's actually a study that debunks this completely. There's 4 different groups. One, high carb, so in theory, high insulin diet, high protein, high fat, intermittent fasting. All ate 60% of their caloric intake. So 40% reduction in calories. They all lost the same amount of calories, or they all lost the same amount of fat. Crazy. All amount of fat. Whoa, speak English here. They lost the same amount of fat. That's bizarre. The only difference is the high protein group kept more muscle on. That was the only difference. And we all know protein is amazing for storing muscle.
Also, I wasn't giving my digestion any time to rest, which explains why I was bloated all the time.
So she fasts. That's what she's saying.
So even though I was eating whole foods, high protein, and technically in a calorie deficit, I still couldn't lose weight.
No, you weren't. You just weren't in a calorie deficit. You weren't tracking correctly. You were doing something wrong. And stop spreading this rhetoric where you have to fast and hate your diet. You can't have any carbs or anything like that. That's bizarre. Absurd.
I still got PTSD, motherfuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
She's actually correct, but it doesn't matter. It's very good for views because it is a shock value, because I'm sure you watch it and go, wait, she's right? Why? That makes no sense. You think running burns more calories, so inherently you gotta lose more weight. In reality, it's determined by your heart rate. So if you're doing high intensity, high elevated heart rate, you're gonna use glucose or your carbs. So at a higher elevation, you're not using fat as a store of energy. And then when you're walking, you're at a lower heart rate and you're using fat to burn. So when you walk around, you're using fat as this fuel source. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Your day-to-day life, you switch sources all the time. All that matters is if that exercise is helping you burn calories to aid in a calorie deficit. That's all that matters, because you switch sources all the time. So in reality, like I see people demonize running all the time. I think that's stupid. If you like to run, run. If you like to walk, walk. Just choose the exercise that you enjoy, and it aids in a caloric deficit. That's all that exercise really does. I mean, you can increase your VO2 max. It's great for health. I mean, for just fat loss. So yeah, she's right, but it doesn't mean anything. So yeah, you're using fat as the source, but it doesn't matter. You can use fat as your source all day and still gain fat. It doesn't matter if you're using carbs or not. Thank you for everyone that sent it to me. This will be a highly requested video. Just please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys want to watch.